And I'm John Lamson, and I'm the chair of the Village of North Bennington Board of Trustees, and I'll call the meeting to order. And at the same time, I will continue to admit whoever wants to participate. I'll try to do both of those things at the same time. It is October 13th, 2020, 7 p.m. This meeting is held by video conference via Zoom. This is in accordance with the ongoing H681 Section 6 resolution that we're permitted to hold meetings by a video conference. Obviously, we are recording the meeting, both the minutes as well as a broadcast, a simultaneous broadcast. I think, are we on Facebook tonight or no?
You are.
I believe
you're on
okay.
Facebook on the channels.
Great. We are on public access as well as on Facebook, and you can also see a recording on YouTube after the fact if you'd like. So the first order of business tonight is to review and approve the minutes from our September 8th, 2020 meeting. Have the trustees had an opportunity to review the minutes? Just going to change the view so I can see all of you. Okay, and is there any discussion or amendment to the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion's been made by Mr. Boudreau to approve. And is there any objection to that motion? Hearing no objection, that motion will carry unanimously. And the second order of business is to approve the warrant and the payment of the bills. So we have the payroll warrant this month is in the amount of $8,936.58. This includes our normal 2 full-time employees and 1 payment to a per diem worker at $404.98 for a period between September 21st and October 7th. That's Louis Brown, who we usually get to do flagging and support for the guys. So are there any questions about that warrant or amendments to that warrant?
No, make a motion to approve payroll warrant.
Okay, motion's been made. Is there any objection to that motion? Okay, hearing no objection, that motion will carry unanimously. So and again, just to remind our trustees and our viewers that we have authorized our own rules of order that are model rules of order by the Vermont League of Cities and Towns that allows us on motions that are not a second and an actual vote can be called at any time, but under normal circumstances when there's no objection that we can pass motions without a second necessary or a roll call vote. We can just make the motion and approve it by unanimous consent. Okay, so we also would want the next order of business is to approve the payment of the bills this month. And I'm not sure I have the total in front of me on that one.
It is 26.
963.73. Sorry.
Okay.
26,963.73.
Thank you for that clarification. And so I think that was clear on the recording now. And is there any questions about any of the, do we have a motion to approve?
I would just like to make a clarification beforehand, and that is the first item on there, $4,861, is not a net expense to the village. That was the grant that we had gotten for the fire hydrant, and we simply remitted it on. But it is on this warrant because it is a check, but it is not a net expense to the village, i.e. not taxpayer funded.
The village had already received a check for that
Correct.
from the state.
Correct.
I just had a couple quick questions. The Romar Industries for 562,
A radio.
and then Magic Electric for 1,200.
That was for some new lights and fixtures at the fire department.
Okay, last one, under Park and Rec, there was Adams Lock debris removal for $204.90.
Yep, and that was something to do with the ball field. The other thing that also went under Park and Recs was the $2,000 Tatros, and that was the cement pads.
Yeah, I saw the other ones. Yeah, I saw the other ones there. I figured what they were, and they're all. I just wasn't sure what lock debris removal was, but
Okay.
thank you.
Okay.
And John, I'm just going to bring up that matter I just mentioned to you earlier.
Yes, go ahead.
Quickly before we approve, so I did get the bill from Greater Heights for the tree removal, right on Water Street. Where there are three.
Memorial Park across from the library in Pangea on that corner.
Yeah, so three trees are on my property and one on the village property. They sent the entire bill to me with everything on there, so I'm good just so they get paid quickly. I'll go ahead and pay it, and I'll submit the bill with the village portion, and we can wait till next meeting or whenever just for the reimbursement. The village portion was $1,000, which was what the quote was for. But they gave me the entire bill, so I'll just go ahead and pay it so they get paid quickly, and then I'll just put in for reimbursement of the $1,000 that was in a village tree. If that is the easiest way to do that and makes sense to you all.
Yeah, and they had when they had spec'd that, they had given us a quote that it was $1,000 for that tree, and then it was like, what was your set, $2,500 for the rest, Mark, or something?
25 or 26.
Yeah.
I don't have it written down. It's not
They-
something like.
But they broke it down, and we had approved that one in the August meeting, I think.
Yep.
So.
And it came, everything fell right within the quote. The quotes were the exact amount of the bill, so
Okay, perfect.
shouldn't be any adjustments. But as long as that's good with you guys, that's what I'll do. I'll just go ahead and pay it tomorrow, and then unless there's a cleaner or a better way to do that.
Does that work, Mary? Okay.
Okay.
Just give me the bill, Mark, when you're ready.
Okay, I can drop a copy off tomorrow.
Drop it off, and then I'll put it on the next warrant.
Great, and then when I forget to do that tomorrow, you'll text me, right?
I always do.
Thank you.
Okay, so is there a motion to approve that the payment of the warrant for the bills?
I will make that motion.
Okay.
So moved.
And is there any objection to that motion? Aaron, no. Tara, no. Matthew, no. Okay, so that motion will carry unanimously. And the next order of business is any citizen comment that we have tonight. And if citizens want to comment on an item that's later on the agenda and you'd like to go so that you can don't have to stick around, you're welcome to do that as well. So we'll just take any comment that you'd like to make at this time. Yes, Mr. Wallace. I see that hold on just one second. I see that your audio is on and it seems that you're unmuted, but I'm not hearing you. Is anyone hearing Mr. Wallison?
Nope.
Could you go to the speaker in the lower left of the screen and see if you could select either a different microphone or the built-in microphone for the computer?
I was like, that's not my mom. It could be his volume.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, if the computer itself is on mute, that might do it, yeah. Maybe,
They call in maybe?
yeah, if worst comes to worst, we do have call-in numbers if you want to use a phone.
Yeah. Of course, they don't allow us to have local numbers. That costs extra on Zoom, like a lot extra. But I can give you the number that they do for Bennington, which is 929-205-6099. And then you do the meeting number and then the pass. Yeah, so then when you're supposed to enter the meeting number, it is 851. I don't know. This is kind of complicated, Nathan. My understanding is you dial the top number 929-205-6099, and then when they ask you to enter the meeting number, you put 851241295990. This is all. I put all this in the chat. If you open it looks like you're looking at the chat, and then when they ask you for the password, it's 695214. I was getting somebody's audio there for a second. So it's not theirs. Yeah, would it? Well,
Can he just call you?
Yeah, put it on speaker maybe? Or someone's phone maybe?
we could try it. Do you want to just try calling my number, Nathan? Do you have it? I think I might have emailed you that, but let me see if I saved yours. Here, I'll put it in the chat. There you go. Huh, it's not ringing? Huh. Shoot. Maybe, let's see.
Did they try to rejoin maybe or get off and then I don't know if that would help.
Good idea.
There we go.
That happened to me once.
Hi, is this,
Closed out. This is Rick Howe.
okay.
I closed it out and rejoined the meeting, and my sound was working.
Um,
Excellent.
So Rich Howe just said that he tried signing off and then signing back on again once, and the sound miraculously worked. So, would you like to try to rejoin the meeting, or do you want me to try to put you on speaker here and see if that works? Okay. Okay, I've got you on speaker.
Okay. Oh, very good. Yes, we just wanted to thank the board for deciding to take care of this tree in the right of way at our house, and assure you that anytime you can schedule it would be fine.
Okay, well, yes, we appreciate you letting us know. Obviously, you know, we don't necessarily have eyes on every tree around, so we have to have, people make the report. So we really appreciate you coming to us and letting us know about this one and that it was a problem. And I'm glad we were able to work it out. And it actually was really beneficial to the board because it made us realize that Park Street really has quite a few old trees that are becoming problematic for the road there. And so it's let us know that we really do need to sort of set aside some money each year so that we're not faced with a large expense on trees if 4 come down in 1 year and then we have to spend thousands of dollars on removing trees as an emergency situation. It's much better to save up and trim them as you go so that it doesn't create a huge problem later on. So we appreciate you alerting us to that issue.
You're very welcome.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Hope you have a great evening.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks, Nathan.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any other citizen comments? Okay. We can just move on to the other items, and if there are comments as we go, we can take them as we go. Could we have a treasurer's report?
Unmute. Yes, I sent all of you just a quick overview of where we are versus our current budget. There is nothing.
That, Mary?
Pardon?
Would you like me to share that document while we're?
You're welcome to. There's really nothing on there that was of concern, but I figured if anybody had any questions, feel free to ask about that. More. I'll wait until you get that up.
That was a
PDF that I sent after that first group. No, I sent it with that first group.
Okay, that's why. It was a PDF, not an Excel.
Mhm. There you go.
Okay.
That is page 2. There you go. So I just wanted you to see where we are with regards to the expenses. Now the expense categories here are a lot finer than what is reported in the annual report. And it is just that, a number of things are consolidated together, such as village office expenses. We don't break them down into various things, and other within highway department. We just report general road maintenance and not the various categories. At this point, there was not anything in here that looked to be of concern yet. But I just would like to start sending this out, if not monthly, then at least, every other month. But I'll send this, and certainly if there are any questions, of course, ask at any time. What I really wanted to talk about this meeting was the collection of property taxes. I also sent you a notification of in-person hours. This has been posted around in various places, and it will appear in the legal notices. There we go. Thank you, John. Will appear in the legal notices this week. I will say I'm a little concerned about having in-person hours extended in a small depot, which was deemed too small to have voting. Granted, we never have nearly as many people that come and pay in person, but I did want to allow our residents plenty of opportunity to be able to drop off or hand in a check and an envelope, given the constraints that we are experiencing with the mail. Therefore, I'm going to have 2 Tuesdays and 2 Thursdays and a Saturday in October, and then the normal schedule of that I've done the last few years in November. I will repost this put this in another legal notice on October 3rd, the weekend of October 31st, just highlighting the November hours. Will require face coverings and social distancing. I will mark off 6 feet with chairs and markers in the depot, so that in the event that there are more than one person at a time, we can be safe. And I will mark it off so that if we exceed that easy capacity, people will just have to be patient and wait outside. Right now, I will say I'm really surprised, pleasantly so, that payments are actually coming in at a very good clip, and I believe to be somewhat more prompt than they were in previous years. So while I was previously concerned that we may have higher than average late payments, I am no longer quite as concerned about that. So this schedule will be dependent on what state guidance may come out between now and these future dates. But this is the plan right now. So if you have questions, please ask away.
Any
Hey,
questions?
Mary,
Go
just a
ahead.
quick one. Have you thought about doing it by appointment only?
I had, because I know that's what other municipalities are doing. But because we have our phone number, our phone in the depot is a voicemail only, I thought it would add an additional layer of complication for people to have to leave a message and then call back. And if 2 people try to call at the same time, you just don't get through. And then I wouldn't want people to think that the phones were not working. So I figured we'd give it a shot.
Do you find that most people come to pay in person just to see the face they're handing it to, or do many people come with questions?
Most people come wanting a stamped receipt with their payment in hand. Fortunately, very few people pay in cash. And I do not keep any cash whatsoever, not even 25 cents in my pocket while I'm sitting there at the depot. So On occasion, people have come in cash, and if they need change, they have to go find it elsewhere and then come back with their exact change or close
Yeah.
enough to.
Yeah, so another option could be that there's a mail slot in the door, isn't there?
There is, and people have put it in there. It gets caught up in there, Mark. It's not
Yeah,
a
I mean-
straight shot in.
Right, but I mean, during your hours, if
Yeah.
you just have them, if they don't have any questions and they just want to stamp receipt, they could actually slide it right in the slot. You stamp the receipt and hand it
Yeah.
out the door. That would limit any contact if you're concerned with that.
We
Just
could
trying to think of
do,
ways to,
right.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea, Mark, as well as I was going to keep a chair with a basket by the door for people who just wanted to pop their head in and say hello. And there are, like I say, most people who do come in, and it isn't a lot, certainly not the majority of taxpayers historically, but those who do, 98% want to stamp receipt. They could leave it there. I'd go provide them their stamped receipt and be done. So
Okay.
I'm confident we can do it safely. People just may need to have some patience if two or more show up at the same time. And again, I reiterate, this may change, depend on the guidance from the state.
I guess my only comment would be, Mary, if you want to either talk to Norm or Chief Myers or just go get your own, just, whatever you need to have there to make you feel comfortable in terms of, gloves or a mask or whatever you need, just arrange to get it.
I have plenty of my own personal face coverings, and I know Norm has wipes and things like that. So that was my plan, to do that, and gloves. I have my own, but I will see if Norm has an extra box for anyone coming in the door.
I'm just thinking because it's going to be, you're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 different occasions. So,
Mhm.
That's,
Again, I wanted to start it a little more than less in the event that we have to shut it down later.
Texas Shield might not be a bad idea either.
Pardon, Mark?
So Texas Shield, having you set up at the table with a shield up would be another added precaution too. And I bet you, the school may have them, that you might be able to use them during your hours if they don't interfere with times they're using them. Or
Okay.
obviously it's something that we could take care of too.
Yeah.
And any added layer of protection would be
Yeah.
good.
You know what? I'll ask the library and see if they have one too. Good
Yeah,
idea.
yeah.
Thank you.
Mary, I can ask at the college too if you don't end up finding one at the library. I know we
Thank
have
you.
some around, so.
Okay.
all right. Any questions on the budget that went over, or this is an early, we're in the fiscal year, not the calendar year. We're kind of early on here, but thank you.
It is very early on, and like I say, nothing seemed to be alarming at this point.
Okay. All right. Very good. And as far as highway goes, I know that Norm couldn't be here with us tonight, so I can just report that the projects for the summer have been wrapped up, and he's trying to get things ready for winter. The stuff with Zaluzny is closed out as far as I know. So if there's anything left over there, we should know about that so that we can forward it, because I think there shouldn't be. All of the punch list items have been taken care of to my knowledge. And we've gotten what paving we're going to get done is done. And the only thing which is under new business is that we are looking that we have purchased our new F-350. So we're just waiting for the body to be built on that. And if we remember from the last time, that can take a month or two, but it should be to us probably, I would assume, before January 1st. So, and then once we receive that, then we can get rid of the other one. So, any DRB, Planning Commission, or Fire Department? Okay, the only item under the Water Department would be appointment of members of the Water Board of Commissioners. So under our charter, we appoint those positions. The Water Commission is it's not a department necessarily, but it's a sort of a branch of our it's our duty to appoint them, and then they run the department. So we have been given a letter from the department with the 2 recommendations to the board, and they're recommending that Steve Goodrich be reappointed to his position as chair of that board, and that there is an alternate of Ron Pembroke. And so that's according to the charter, is that they're supposed to provide 2, but Steve is willing to continue to serve as a commissioner. So is there I would entertain a motion at this time to approve that nomination of Steve Goodrich to the Board of Water Commissioners.
I would like to make some comments about that.
Okay.
I don't know how many terms that Steve has served, but I know that there is something in the statute that suggests that he has to step down he can't serve too many terms in a row. I don't know where we're at with that, because it seems like we just keep going around with that. I mean, I don't necessarily have any opposition, but I would like us to at least appear to be following the rules. Also, I know that Ron Pembroke has never wanted to be on the board, and that's used all the time as their second choice, just so that they have one. When I asked him on multiple occasions, he wasn't even asked in the past whether he would want to be considered. So,
Okay.
as how many Steve served consecutively? Because I'm pretty sure that he's supposed to not serve in perpetuity, but to step aside and then he can come back.
Yeah, it says, so well, let me share my screen so everybody can see it. So the charter, as I said earlier, the management of the water system is vested in the trustees and the Village of North Bennington through the water commissioners. So 4 of whom are residents of the village, and vacancies are filled by the trustees if a majority of the remaining commissioners propose a trustee in writing within 15 days of the occurrence of a vacancy. At least 2 qualified candidates for each vacancy. The trustees shall appoint one of the 2 qualified candidates. So I don't know if this is a vacancy per se, but I think that maybe the term is up, but it says the commissioners shall serve a term of 5 years. And then the commissioners shall elect a chair annually who shall serve no more than 3 consecutive 1-year terms. So I think that's what you're making reference to, and I agree with you that I'm gonna guess that he's been chair for more than 3 years, but I don't know if anyone's raised that issue before, so I don't know if it's.
So if I could say something, excuse me, they have raised that issue before, and at that time, another member of the Board of Water Commissioners was appointed as chair for 1 year, and then Steve was appointed following that year again. It's been quite a while, I believe, since that's happened, but it has been brought up in the past.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so that's my point. It's not our job to decide who's chair of that commission, but they need to be doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is not allow a member to be chair for more than 3 years, as I understand it. Is that right?
Yeah, they have a limited term of 5 years, and when that's up, it doesn't say that they can't run for reappointment, so they can run as many times as they want, but they can only be chair for 3 consecutive 1-year terms, and then they'd have to take at least 1 term off, and then they could come back.
It would just be great if the water department was here to assure us that they have done what they're supposed to do, which is after 3 years of appointment, appoint someone else. And I don't think they've done that, which makes me question whether, perhaps they're in violation of the statute or the terms that are laid out here. Again, I also am concerned that, and this is not really anything against Mr. Goodrich, it's just will the board just try to act like they care to follow the rules? I don't think in the 18 years or more that I've been on this board that I've never seen anything but the desired commissioner put forth and another name who in the times that I've inquired didn't even know that they were being put forth as the second candidate. So I'm concerned that we might find ourselves in some sort of situation where if we're not following the rules because they're not, and we don't care to engage the situation, that we could become liable for this kind of stuff. So,
okay, well, I think it would be fair to request clarification from them on what I see as 2 issues. One would be that, what is the completion of the term, and are you 15 days within that, and are the 2 proposed candidates qualified candidates, meaning that they are both qualified but also know about the nomination and are willing to serve if appointed. And then the other question would be, are they going by the charter, which says that a chair can only serve 3 consecutive terms, and so I think we could table the nomination until we have a response on that.
No, I don't want to table it because they put forth 2 candidates, and I actually make a motion to appoint Ron Pembroke to the water board.
Okay. And is there a second on that? Or is there a call for a second on that? Or is there a, is this,
In terms of a call for a second,
okay.
do we have to call for a second, or are you asking if there's any objection to it?
No, I'm not asking if there's objection. I'm just asking if there is a call for this to be more of a formal roll call vote or a seconded motion. I think it's, I don't think that there's a clear, this may be unanimous, but I don't know if it's as clear as, for instance, a warrant issue where it's, it's unanimous every single time we do it. So I just want to make sure that everybody has a chance to weigh in on the board here.
Just so everyone knows, I just texted Ron, and he is aware that he was nominated to be the second place.
Okay.
So.
Great. So then I again nominate Ron Pembroke for the Board of Water Commissioners.
For the board or for the chair?
No, we don't pick the chair. They pick the chair.
Oh, okay.
There's two candidates up for nomination for the water boards. Everybody comes up with their 5-year term, and I'm saying that I would like to see Ron on that board.
Is there any other discussion on that? Okay, well, if there has been.
Are we voting on? Are we voting?
We need a second, I think, on that.
Okay.
I'd like to,
Yeah.
ask a second on that.
Pardon me?
I'd like to call for the second to be in as part of this. So, is there somebody who seconds the nomination of Ron Pembroke?
I'll second.
Okay. And so the motion has been made. It's been seconded. So if there's further discussion, then that's germane now to either the issue at hand or the process, and otherwise we'll go ahead and take a vote. Okay, so all those in favor of nominating Ron Pembroke as Commissioner on the Water Commission, please indicate by saying aye.
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 And I'll say nay.
Can I abstain from? I'm not sure. I know. Do I need to say yay or nay?
No.
Well, I think that's a decision that you can make yourself, Aaron.
Okay.
I don't know if I want to tell you whether you can or not, but you're welcome to decide.
I'm going to abstain
from any vote, but it would be your own, reasons for that, I guess. Okay, so there is 3 in favor and 1 opposed and 1 abstention. And so it says, and so the motion carries, and Mr. Pembroke is Commissioner of the Water Board. Okay.
Very good.
The next order of business would be the Act 250 application of Pool and Grain in North Bennington, Shaftesbury. So we've had, I'm the point of contact, I think, for this. And so I get an email every time something's filed in this Act 250 application. I don't think I've forwarded everything to the board, but I try to forward as much as I can. And I think that one of the more recent documents is important for us to at least be aware of, which is the response that was filed by Poolin's attorney, because it does provide a lot of the background and explains the issues and provides the rationale that's being cited to expand the operating hours there from 7 to 7 to 4 a.m. to 11 p.m. And this is Monday through Saturday. And I would say from my reading, and obviously you can read these documents on your own, but from my reading, the main rationale was that due to dairies becoming much larger in size, the delivery and storage has to happen on a different schedule than it used to when you were dealing with a lot of smaller farms and they were more numerous, but they were smaller in scale. And now when you deliver a load, it's going to be like a whole trailer full as opposed to some portion of that or bags or what have you. So obviously you can tell I'm no expert in this area, but they have stated that a lot of times they'll need to send out a delivery first thing in the morning at 4 a.m. because that's when the business is operating. The cows are being milked and need to be fed or whatever, and that they need to respond more quickly than they're able to in terms of the hours. It's not, but they are also clear that it would not be, that this isn't an everyday, that they want to move their operating hours to every single day at 4 a.m. It's just to accommodate that if they needed to do that on these occasions, that they had the flexibility to. And obviously I'm not stating any position on whether I think that's, whether I know that to be the case or not. It's just what my reading from the documents was. So the reason that it's on the agenda is because the village being the portion of the business being located in North Bennington makes us automatically a party. Any municipality that the business is in becomes a municipality for an Act 250 permit. So, but that does not mean that the municipality has to take a position. And I think that, I will, as chair, I will exercise my ability to sort of let the other trustees weigh in as far as their opinions go, and I'll kind of keep mine to myself unless others feel it's important that I express that. But are there other trustees that have a position on this or would like or feel that we either should be involved or shouldn't be involved in this process?
I have a question or two. Oops.
Okay, yep, go ahead, Tara.
Well, one, do we still have Art on the call?
Yes.
Can he speak a little bit to the necessity for the hours change since he ran the business for a million years? And can we stop screen sharing so I can see him?
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to do.
Yeah. So, Art, would you be willing to speak a little bit on this and just tell us the needs of the business and maybe like the sound that might be generated at 4 a.m. that might bother neighbors or anything like that?
Yeah, just let me give you some history. I had to get the Act 250 permit before I could even borrow the money or build a facility or anything else. That was the very first thing that had to be done. So a lot of people were concerned, neighbors were concerned about, this architectural thing that was going to be up in the air and all that sort of stuff. So some of the neighbors forced a major Act 250 hearing, which is, it would have gone through as a minor, but because neighbors had concerns, it went through as a major, which meant there was a meeting at the Shasbury School and all that sort of stuff. And one of the things they were concerned about was the noise of the mill. In my opinion, nobody was concerned about truck traffic or noise from trucks or anything else like that. It was the uncertainty of the noise from the mill, because you've got the word mill in the project. So this was kind of like uncharted territory. There is a mill up in Brandon, and there are other ones throughout the state, but they were all located in rural or in the industrial zones because they're right next to the railroad tracks. You have to have rail service. So I tried to have the Act 250 Commission give me a decibel reading whereby I knew I would be in or what ranges, and they did not like the idea because a decibel reading during the day, if that same one is at night, that could be too loud, and so on and so forth. So they asked if the 7 to 7, 6 days a week was adequate. I had no idea. I mean, this was a whole new project. We just didn't have any history or anything. In retrospect, I think I should have at least said at the commission hearing, this is more restrictive than the village noise ordinance is. I think the noise ordinance in North Bennington is 10 o'clock at night, and you were telling me I couldn't make noise past 7 o'clock. So I didn't know what was going to happen. And so I just went with, I agreed to it. As we built a mill and started in business and things grew, it became necessary for me to go past the 7 to 7. I had one driver in particular that just didn't sleep at night. He was up at 3 o'clock every morning. So he left at 4 o'clock in the morning. And that was great, because then when he came back for his next run, it was at a different time than the other drivers, and so on and so forth. But I was very careful not to make a huge amount of noise outside my 7 to 7 hours. We ran the mill many times till 9 or 10 o'clock at night, just because you physically could not make the amount of grain that was necessary. They had to go out. And it is true. These farmers are kind of like demanding that if you want to feed my cows and my grain is empty, you better be there at 5 o'clock in the morning when I'm ready to feed, type of thing. So it's absolutely necessary that we have some flexibility. But again, I want to emphasize that the noise ordinance was, I'm quite certain, was on the mill itself, and nobody ever questioned trucks leaving or anything else, because you're on Route 67 where trucks go by constantly. And so I had to operate outside the 7-7, but I made sure we didn't pound on railroad cars during that time when we were outside of it, and so on and so forth. And I did not have a neighbor that just complained constantly. I always tried to take care of any complaints or anything else like that. But the lawyer is absolutely right that there is no way that this facility can operate profitably in the constraints that some people are trying to hold them to.
And it seemed to me that the bulk of the in and out there is actually truck as opposed to the train car, and that they were saying there were something like 4 to 5 maybe cars a week from the train, but quite a few more truckloads going in and out. Is that fair?
Oh, absolutely. Well, the train comes in. Yes, sometimes they'll bring 2 or 3 cars in one day, and then they have to start taking them out as they empty them and that sort of stuff. But obviously, the trucks leave on a lot. I mean, there are several trucks a day that have to leave, and the trucks always leave through the how do I say? Well, it's what we call where the fuel tank is. They leave on the 67 down by the post office. If they're leaving, they either pull out onto 67 and head down past the post office, or else they take a right and go the opposite way towards up 67 and then around the corner and go down the bank or Brick Row, Green Street. Okay, but all the trucks are parked, and because of the way they load on the scales, when they leave, they always leave in that direction. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I mean, is there somebody that feels strongly that we should be a part of the a part of this Act 250 process, or do we feel that you know, they would look at any complaints if there are any, but if there aren't, then it would just be approved, I would imagine.
John, are you asking whether there's someone on the board that has a feeling about this, or are you asking about the public? And there are a few here that I think want to speak to it.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
In other words,
okay, yeah. If there's anybody else that would like to speak to the
First-
issue,
first we should, yeah.
would any other member of the public like to speak on this issue?
This is Richard Howe. I live in the house directly across from the grain mill. And I guess myself and my tenant are the ones who have been complaining, mostly, because we live probably the closest. And it's just over time, it's only been in the last 2-3 years that it's gotten, the volume seems to have increased so much. The trucks are very loud, as trucks are. And the grain running, I don't know, the shooting sounds continue well into the night sometimes. I mean, it's really disrupted the quality of living at my house in particular. So, you know, I hate to see someone not have a business that's a successful business, but it's also reduced the quality of my property quite a bit.
Yeah, well,
So-
I think it's fair that if you're being asked if there are any concerns or if people are bothered by noise, then you're allowed to say that you are. I don't think there's any problem with that. You know, because otherwise no one would know that it was an issue. So I appreciate your saying so. I think that I would like to just recognize, I think what Art mentioned, which is that our jurisdiction is limited as trustees, and that I think, you know, our noise ordinance, if we could put our finger on it, you know, would probably not address this issue, but it is an issue that's being looked at by the Act 250 Commission. So I guess what the question to the board is this a concern that you think we want to represent either the business or the citizens or both or something at the commission hearing, or should we leave the business and anybody who wants to participate in the hearing to express the concerns individually? Does that make sense to the board, or?
Yeah, I think our role in this is just to make sure that everyone is informed as to the process of stating their concerns and giving the information on where, when, and how to do that. I don't know that there's our position to make a yay or nay statement on that as a board. But it's certainly in being, as representing our community, their job is as much to make sure that they're informed and know what the process is and what their rights are in terms of speaking out about it.
Is there anybody else who'd like to be heard on this particular issue? Okay. Is there any?
Well, I would say that a number of years ago, we got involved with an Act 250 hearing that involved the propane, what do they call it? The tank farm or whatever down on, by the old stone church. And the reason we got involved with that was an issue of safety, which I think is a little different here. I mean, I feel, I do feel for the people that live nearby, and I'm concerned about that. But I think the village might, in my opinion, might stay out of this one. I mean, I support Whitman's and what they're doing. I wish that there was somebody from the new owners of Whitman's here, advocating for their position. Art, I know, I think that, and I'm not certain, but if you're still a partner,
I'm not involved at all. I served for a year or so as after the sale as just to help them transition, and I'm no longer employed or anything else. The A&K Agri Services is totally different. It's across the railroad tracks at the old freight house and so on and so forth. I just felt I should give you some history of how the 7-7 came about and the fact that even I couldn't operate under those conditions.
And I appreciate that. And, I think John and I were talking about this the other day, and I don't know how the 250 Commission will deal with this, but, is there a compromise? Is there a 5 to 10, a 6 to 10 operation that that might satisfy the local people? And I get it. I mean, I hear the trains from where I live, but I also have had plenty of people tell me that, well, if you were here 40 years ago, you'd have how many trains coming through a day?
Milk train.
And, those houses were there, and, I do support having the business there. It is a business zone. I do question whether, if 4 o'clock is, maybe a little too early, or if the elevators can work on insulating the sound. Well, it's probably going to experience that, that sound issue from the mill itself. Now I'm hearing from Richard, the trucks are his concern. And, I feel like it's an Act 250 hearing or a situation that I think it requires those who live in the vicinity and who are seemingly being affected by this that they need to hear their voice, have their voices heard. As a village, I'm not seeing it as a safety issue so much as an inconvenience. And I think maybe the village ought to stay out of it, other than acknowledging that we appreciate having that business there. And they will.
Tara, do you have something to add?
Yeah. Can I ask specifically what the Act 250 is in regards to? Is it an environmental act, or is it something about noise and or the way you run your business? Like, what is the Act 250 specifically inquiring about or requiring?
It's an expansion of the time that they can operate and make noise.
But is it just a request, or is it, because I thought way back when I was trying to do stuff here that an Act 250 was filed when you might affect the environmental impact of the land.
No, it can.
I think that it's some aspect of environment in a broad sense. It's not
Aesthetics, noise, yes.
Okay, that's what I was curious about.
Okay, so unless, and I do think, I agree that I think it puts the board in kind of a difficult position if we're trying to represent the individual interests as opposed to group interests. But if there isn't a motion from a board member that we should take an active role in the Act 250 hearing, I think that we would basically choose a passive role by default, so that we would, we have to be a party just because we are automatically party status, but that we wouldn't express any opinion either way.
I feel like, so there, even if there's just one member of the community that's being impacted by it, wouldn't it be the board's job to at least, I had no idea that this was happening, but to somehow notify more of the community about it in case there are other people, so they can also have a say in it? But I don't know if that's part of what the board would do, but just to give notification to those families, either in their mailbox or something, because clearly it is affecting people that live in the vicinity.
Yeah, I think that, what Richard's done here is he's raised the issue at a public meeting that's recorded and broadcast on Facebook and YouTube. And, hopefully if more people attended these meetings like we're doing tonight, and I appreciate seeing all your faces unmasked too. But, I think that's the purpose of our open meeting law and our open meetings, is so that these issues can be raised. So I would, certainly, if insofar as the board acts as a conduit, we would welcome communication from community members. If you want to call me, if you want to email me as chair, or any board member that as a member of the community, then please go ahead and do that, because you're right that we do act based on community response. And so if we have an issue that comes up at a public meeting that generates public response, that can be the way that we that we proceed. But like for instance with one of the the cell phone thing, is we raise it at one meeting and nobody's there, but everybody saw that meeting, so then the next meeting everybody's there, and that's fine, that's good. At least people got there somehow. But sometimes it takes a meeting to get, and the Act 250 process is not speedy, so I don't think we have to worry about this happening right away. Although I do think that the notice that they're giving me is that this hearing is going to be scheduled, I would think, in the next month or so. So, if there are any public comments out there, if you're out there, just let us know and we can see where we're at.
just to point out that the Act 250 process does require that all parties, adjoining landowners, municipalities, they have all been notified. They all know. And that's why Richards is here. I mean, other than the fact that he's also, got a particular concern about it, which I also am concerned about. But yes, all landowners, the town of Shasbury, anybody who lives anywhere in that vicinity and on the North Bennington side have been notified, and have been notified for, I would imagine, the last several months about this process. So, it's not.
There was this is Richard. There was a meeting, well, it was a Zoom meeting like this with the state. It was sort of, I don't know exactly what it was, a preliminary discussion of the issue with people from, I don't know where, but people who were involved in the state government. And there were at least 2 or 3 more neighbors that were involved in that meeting. I'm not sure where, I don't know what's happened since then. And there was talk, we're supposed to be convening with the owner so that he can do a walk around with us, so that the neighbors can see exactly what's going on and what's producing the noise, etc. And that was about 2 months ago, I think. And I got a message that they're working on that. And I think that's happening soon. And so then I'm not sure where we go from there, but
Yeah,
of
the
course,
process
the Shaftesbury, government is also involved in this, because my property is actually in Shaftesbury, as is part of the Whitman's facility there. So it's complicated.
So that was actually one of my concerns, is that we're being asked to take a position on this when I don't know the particulars, because they're not laid out in the filings that have been made public. What are the decibels that are coming out of the mill, at certain times of the day? What is the traffic stuff? We can have an emotional response, those of us who don't live there, I get that, to the concerns, but what are the real, what's the data? Where's the noise, and is it affecting neighbors that would violate any noise level ordinances at the state level, or at the village level, or at Shaftesbury's town level, or Bennington's level? I don't know. And so it's hard for us, I think, as a village to just respond to it. I think this is in the hands of those who live there, and they do need to, if they have great concerns, they need to step up, go to the 250 hearings. I mean, in this means I've been active hearing, actually go there, but state your concerns and get the data, because right now, I get it. You don't like the noise, and I wouldn't either. But what what's the end game on that? You know, do you live in a place where there has historically been, you know, this kind of activity? And I don't think we can make a decision on that as a village. I think we can support you in doing what you have the right to do within these hearings. That's about it.
So I think I'm going to exercise my discretion to move along on the agenda. I appreciate this discussion, and if we want to revisit that, we would encourage people to contact us so we can put it back on our agenda. The other.
Well, thank you for your attention to the matter. I'm glad at least maybe some people are learning about it.
Yeah. No. Thank you, Richard.
So,
okay.
Thanks, Rick.
Yep.
So I did put down BCRC Municipal Roads Grant and Aid Program. So we do get a grant to do culverts, and it's a great program because they pay for like 80% usually or so. We can get a $5,000 culvert for like $1,500. So we'd like to continue to do that. If the other trustees would just stop by, I've signed it and dropped it off. I'll drop it off to Lori. And if you could also sign that document so that we can get it back to BCRC, that'd be great. So that we would qualify for those grants again for next year. We've been doing about one culvert a year, and it's worked great because we get it every time usually. So, the other issue that had come up that was not on the agenda, but we couldn't, put it because it was last minute, was we were made aware that a property on Main Street is going to be coming up for a foreclosure auction on November 4th. And so this is 40 Main Street, which is across from, it's sort of across from Kevin's, next to Redeemed Repair on the east, to the east of Redeemed Repair. It's a white house, and as I understand it, architecturally, it's actually a twin to the house that's exactly across the street from it. And obviously both have a historic architecture and are, this house though that is in foreclosure is it's pretty dilapidated, but it certainly has that historical structure. And so we were made aware of this just in case the board wanted to try to do something on behalf of the village in terms of the foreclosure auction. So I would welcome any citizen comment on that. And then also, obviously board members are welcome to, you get to talk whenever you want. I don't have authority over you, but so I was thinking about this, and I'm not sure that I guess I would maybe be thinking about contacting Bennington to see if they have a process for when these buildings come up for auction, if the town wanted to be involved in some way, because I'm not really sure how that works is in terms of if the municipality wants to, let's pretend we wanted to make an offer on this property in the foreclosure, we'd have to make sure that our offer was public and that, but that would kind of ruin it, because then the other bidders would know exactly what we wanted to bid on it. So I'm not sure that that's really the approach, and I didn't know if Bennington maybe did something different. I think it's probably the case that
any type of action like that is more like the tax sale type and not a foreclosure auction. Right? I don't know if municipalities are often involved in foreclosure auctions. But if anybody has a comment on that, it
Mark,
is a,
do you know anything about this?
Not in terms of how a municipality would deal with an auction, no. I can tell you it is nothing that we are prepared to do on our own in terms of taking on a project like that. It's that everything I own is like 150 years old, and their full-time job. This is not something that is a kind of take it over, put a little lipstick on and pass along. This is a serious project you're looking at. If we're planning on getting involved, the municipal end of it, we would need a lot of planning and know exactly what we want to do with that property before we even thought about getting into something like that. And the only thing I could think of is in terms of properties like that, when a municipal government gets involved with it, it would be, we're going to tear it down and put a park in, or they've already got a plan on what they're going to do with that. There's not much you're going to do with that space. That's an easy fix. So, I mean, I don't know, again, the process in terms of, an auction, you can't go into an auction with your sales price written on your forehead, which we would have to. So yeah, I don't know how that would work on that end, but I do know whatever you bought that place for is just the tip of the iceberg. So that's
because there are no voter approved funds for this. It is not in the budget. There is no contingency for such. You'd have to walk into this auction expecting to be a successful bidder with a $10,000 cashier check in hand. This board would have no authority to expend such funds. And just in case you want to know, the process, should this have been a tax sale, if it were a tax sale, I do go into those tax sales prepared to be the bidder, should, on behalf of the village and the school district, the North Bennington graded school district, since most of the taxes are owed to them, in the event that there is no other bidder, and the only reason for that is that if the village and did not take possession, then the delinquent tax collector must start the entire process 1 year later all over again. And so that has only happened once, to my knowledge, and that was prior to me getting here, and I think you all remember that property. But that would be the only case that I know of that the municipality would actually enter a bid, and it would be only for the amount of delinquent taxes if there were no other bidder at all. In case that helps.
Insofar as, again, this is a public forum, I think as the municipality, we can encourage private, concerns to buy this beautiful property in North Bennington and fix it up and make it a wonderful place. It'd be great if somebody from Brooklyn wanted to move up here with their family and get out of COVID country and come up here and enjoy Vermont. So I hope somebody will do that.
Mary did write that it's on the historic register.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes, I just checked into that before this meeting. It's surprising how many properties people should be interested. I've shared that link with all of you trustees, or that document, and several of our residents.
Thank you.
So if anyone's interested, reach out to a trustee and I'll send it to you.
All right. So okay. The other item that I had was our website. So I wanted to share we had a second proposal, and again, I guess I was feeling badly last time just because I had sort of shared the information, but I think that's okay because I think this is more of an open bid process as opposed to a closed bid process. So the two proposals that we've received are very similar, but this is the second one from the Odd Pedals, which is a business at the mill at 160 Benmont, and this is their proposal. And it says, look, I think I can blow this up a little bit. There, I can actually read it. It's essentially the same. They would use Squarespace to create a custom website for us, providing interaction for visitors, highlighting the beauty of North Bennington, and then they just go in detail about, how they would operate how the website would operate. And then the pricing is here, which is $1,000 to design the website. And then we would be responsible for $18 a month to Squarespace to believe that's called hosting the website. And then the domain name is $12, and I thought that was annual, but it just says one at $12. So it's either you purchase the name once or you purchase it annually at $12. I'm not sure. And then so she said, this is Courtney. Let's see. Courtney. I'm sorry, Courtney. I didn't write down your last name for this meeting, but Courtney would bill $65 an hour and said that she would definitely be available to continue to consult with us to update or to modify if necessary. So any thoughts on that?
I think that we should just go with, if the bid is kind of not formal or whatever, I do prefer the local bid. Let's move on, get it done. The important part is whether they're going to keep us within compliance with state statute regarding open meeting laws and all the stuff we have to keep there, and who's going to be the person or people who make sure they have that stuff so that they can help us be in compliance.
Well, so in speaking to her, that is definitely not part of the quote. So we'd have to make sure that we are on the same page as far as that goes. My understanding would be that they would design the site so that the village could upload the documents and post the notices, not them posting and doing
Right.
that for us. So this would essentially be Lori's new responsibility. And, if that's not what we're envisioning, then, we need to build something else into the budget. So I just want to make sure we're all on the same page as far as that goes.
I think that we know that officially it's Lori's responsibility, but we could also pay somebody other than Lori if she feels like she can't do that to keep us up on that stuff on the day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, which might be an added expense, but that's part of the game. If we're going to have a website, we have to be in compliance. It's state law.
But
It
I
would
think
be,
the proposals are comparable though, because neither of them contemplated that.
Correct.
Mary?
it would be my hope to be able to add content as well, and I'm happy to do that myself and happy to assist. Whatever the other village needs are. Chris Damon and I at one point had attended a seminar in Bennington about open meeting, and both of us came away from that feeling that it wasn't quite as onerous as we would have thought in terms of what needed to be posted and when. And it's whatever notices we tack up somewhere, we just put there.
Right.
And do it timely. But I would truly appreciate being able to put things such as the tax schedule and much other information that would help our residents. And I know Chris, I hate to speak for him, but I know he and I have discussed it, and he'd love to have some of the forms, et cetera, more easily available to people there.
Yeah, and that's the real good part of having a graphic designer consultant for that part, is that they're going to help us to organize that information in a way that somebody going to the website is going to find it easily and be able to access it easily. Now, we would be the one to put it up there, but we'd be putting it in the place on the website that they suggest and that they design the interaction between the user and the content that we're trying to get out there.
Yeah. Now, one thing I don't know, and was this something that was discussed, if we wanted our agencies that we support, such as the fire department or the library, et cetera, to be able to put their annual reports on that site, would they do that themselves, or would the village then collect that and post it?
I think
I would think that would be something that should go through us.
Yeah.
Because we want to, if it's ours, not that we would change what they put on there, but we would at least want to have control of everything that goes on that site.
And it's also an access issue too. If we allow somebody else to be able to post, well, that might mean that they could also take something away or change something, and that wouldn't be good.
Would we provide links to other service agencies? Or is that a matter of design?
We can provide links to anything, I think, but access to actual manipulation of the site, I don't think is something we want to do.
Right, sort of a one-way thing, not a two-way street.
Yeah. And I don't really envision the fire department, frankly, creating their own content or putting up their own stuff. But if they came to us and said, this is what we would like to have representing, our organization, then that would be fine.
Sure, but if we build for the future, it could provide an opportunity for somebody in the future to have an additional means of communicating with residents.
Correct. But I think still through our portal, they can come to us. I don't think the people that create the site for us cares what we do. Don't care about how many people are connected to it. If their design becomes more complicated because of it, or there's more levels of pages and this and that, then yeah, it might cost more, but ultimately they're creating a platform. We put on the platform what we want.
Okay. Any other discussion on that issue? Yeah, Lori.
Just so you know, I'm very proud of this. My skills in technology have increased significantly since March of 2020, and they continue to continue to get better. So, yeah.
So do you, when you're doing your meetings, do you take the screen off of share?
Sometimes.
Impressive. Good. So I don't know if somebody wants to make a motion to approve, we can do that, or we can, wait another month or whatever you want to do.
We should wait no longer. I make a motion to approve the proposal at hand for design of our website.
Okay, is there a second? All right, Aaron seconds. And any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. And
Aye.
okay, the motion carries unanimously. All right, so the only question now is that we have to try to come up with a name. Chris Damon did suggest that it to be in sync with other municipalities around the area, we might want to consider North Bennington VT dot whatever org, I think, is because Bennington is Bennington VT .org, and so we would consider North Bennington VT.org, which would be different from the fund website, which is northbennington.org. So we could be very close to that, but yet different enough so that we could have our own. So,
Can we be .gov?
So I have not looked.
Can we do?
I haven't looked into that. I think Mary's shaking her
No,
head.
it's probably.
Is that a federal only, or is it a specific? You have to purchase
No.
that.
It's another whole thing. We don't really.
You don't want to go there.
No.
Okay. All right. Well, let's think about that. I like Chris's proposal, but that doesn't have to. We can come up with that at the end game while they're working on it.
Okay. If there's nothing further, I did have executive session, but this is an ongoing legal matter, but I don't have anything new to add to that, so I don't think it's necessary for us to meet in executive session tonight.
Thank you.
All right.
So I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, and if anyone who approves of that motion can signify by leaving. Thank you all. It's very nice to see you. Take care.